Good morning, Minnesota DFLers, and welcome to the DFL Daily. Richard Carlbaum here, chair of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. We're here every day at 10:45, giving you the message, the action, and the tools to take one more concrete step toward winning big in the 2026 midterm election this November. Before we get into today's topic, just want to highlight some of the work Democrats are doing around the state to bring people together. Saturday, May 16th, this coming Saturday at 9 a.m., there's going to be a coffee, pastry, and progressive conversation at Jitters Java Cafe in Sauk Center. State Auditor candidate Ben Shire is expected to stop by. Also at 9:30 a.m., the Neighborhood Network Coffee Chat is happening at Lunds and Byerly's in Apple Valley. At 11:30 a.m. on Saturday, Houston County DFL is marching in the Cinco de Mayo parade in Spring Grove. You can walk the route or hop in the van, and yes, your animals are welcome too. I can't get Walnut down there in time because I have pre-convention committee meetings, but Walnut loves a good parade. You'll see them this summer. At noon, the Owatonna Bridge protest is back. Bring your signs, your flags, and your voice. At 3 o'clock on Saturday, head to Preston for the Trout Days Parade. Oh, we're into parade season. Get a great way to kick off this very parade season. There will be a wagon for riders, plenty of signs to carry in candidates to join the fun. As I mentioned, the state DFL convention is coming up May 29th, 30th, and 31st. We sent out the agenda last week. Friday, we're going to endorse in the governor's race and in the Secretary of State's race. Saturday, in the Attorney General and U.S. Senate, a bunch of party business, a bunch of special guests on Saturday. We're going to be honoring Tina Smith and her service to the state of Minnesota on Saturday as well. And then looking forward to Sunday, we have the state auditor's race and a bunch of other party business. It's going to be a packed weekend, May 29th, 30th, and 31st. This coming weekend, we have pre-convention committees. The Rules Committee and Credentials Committee will be meeting on Saturday. The Platform Committee met last night, and the ongoing work of that group is really amazing. We have more resolutions passed up through from precinct caucuses up through the organizing units than we've ever had. I mean, the number of resolutions is just incredible. So the platform committee is doing that work. Tonight, there's a delegation chair training at 6 p.m. And then on Friday, there's a radical hospitality and de-escalation training at 5:30 p.m. This will be the second of those trainings. We'll do a third one at the state convention. This is really important because this is where we ground ourselves in our organizational culture statement, which is a mandate in our party constitution and our call that requires all of us as leaders to make sure that we are creating a hospitable, welcoming, safe space for everybody who wants to participate. So those are some things happening this week. For more information, you can go to dfl.org/events and check out all the other events happening. Okay, let's get into it. Yesterday, I'm sure you all saw this, Donald Trump went viral. He said, quote, "I don't think about Americans' financial situation." Those were his exact words. When asked to clarify, he doubled and then tripled down. He absolutely made it clear to the American people that all of his decision-making on the world stage right now, not one element, not one ingredient in his decision-making considers the financial situation of the American people. Inflation just hit a 3-year high, outpacing wage growth. Today, the average price of gas is $4.51 a gallon. 77% of Americans say the president's policies have increased the cost of living. It's really bad, folks. The affordability crisis is real, and our candidates are talking about it every single day because Donald Trump and Republicans, every chance they've had to make it better, they've made it worse. It's all proof of Donald Trump and Republicans' approach to governing and spending your tax dollars. They don't think about your situation. They don't care about what they're costing you. They just want to make it work for them. They're in it for themselves. This week, our message is this: you deserve a government that gets things done. Government should make it easier to make ends meet and deliver for you. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Trump and Republicans have broken that promise and are actively using the power of government, to harm working families. Our organizers hear this when they knock on doors every week. People want a stable government that solves problems. Instead, Republicans are focused on creating more chaos, more culture wars, and billionaire handouts. Republicans in Congress have spent this year slashing funding for programs that regular Minnesotans depend on. Medicaid, grocery assistance, public education, all have been cut while big corporations and the ultra-wealthy get more tax breaks. The national debt is skyrocketing in Trump 2.0. They're taking the basics away from you while getting what they need for billionaires and their ballrooms. They continue to do absolutely nothing to lower your grocery bill, help you afford your prescription, or keep your kids safe at school. When was the last time a Trump-era policy made it easier for a Minnesota family to afford childcare? When? Or to keep the heat on in January? When's the last time a Trump-era policy actually made it easier for a Minnesotan to go see a doctor without going into debt? These are people who literally weaponize the federal government against our state. It's crucial that we name that harm. Minnesota Republicans are no different. Just like Trump and Republicans in Congress, they've broken promises and are harming and ignoring the needs of Minnesota families. All the achievements I've listed earlier, Republicans want to take those away. They've spent this legislative session blocking progress, hiding from tough votes, and prioritizing partisan performance over public service. They have the ability to pass historic legislation to protect Minnesotans from gun violence, but they're literally hiding it in a drawer as the Annunciation families beg them to do something to keep kids safe. Lisa Demuth promised to do something to the Annunciation parents, and now she's broken that promise. That's the scale and the stakes of this harm. Meanwhile, right here in Minnesota, Democrats are doing the work to make Minnesotans' lives better. DFLers delivered free breakfast and lunch for every K-12 student in Minnesota. That makes a real impact on kids who can now enjoy their classes and focus on school because they're not hungry. That's how government can work for your family. DFLers built a nation-leading child tax credit to cut the childhood poverty rate by 1/3, putting real money back in the pockets of working families. We protected reproductive rights. We passed paid family medical leave. We led the fight for marriage equality. We've rebuilt our roads, our bridges, invested in clean energy that creates good-paying jobs right here in Minnesota. And we made sure our veterans, seniors, and working people weren't left behind. Just this session, Senator Heather Gustafson led the way with her Office of Inspector General bill to root out fraud, which is headed to the governor's desk now. Heather Gustafson in the Senate and Matt Norris in the House delivered that anti-fraud package. That's the kind of government Minnesotans want, one that solves real problems, addresses them up front. The bottom line is this, folks. Minnesotans are done with Trump and the Republican harm that has infiltrated our daily lives. Minnesotans want leaders who show up, fix what isn't working, and are honest about what's at stake. That's what Democrats are offering here in Minnesota and across the country. When Democrats lead, we listen and get things done for working families. So for today's action, think about one thing government should be doing to make your life easier. Maybe it's bringing down your rent or healthcare costs, protecting kids at school, or protecting your job. Then ask who's actually working hard to make that happen versus who's hiding bills in desk drawers, stalling progress, and choosing political theater over results. Share that contrast. You can share it with a friend, a neighbor. You can share it on social media, or right here in our Zoom chat. You can share it in the chat. There's so many examples from Trump's government and from the current legislative session where Republicans are actively doing harm to working Minnesotans while Democrats are desperately trying to make progress for working families. When we name what's broken and what's not working, we build the case for government we all deserve. Our government should understand the challenges families face, and the only way it ever will is if we keep speaking up, holding harmful leaders accountable, and electing people who care about who gets things done. My second call to action today is sign up for a training. I suggest you attend the Radical Hospitality and De-Escalation training this Friday at 5:30. We're going to record it, and we're going to push it out to everybody who's attending the state convention at the end of this month. Tomorrow, our special guest will be Jake Johnson, our DFL endorsed candidate in the 1st Congressional District. And then on Friday, our special guest will be Matt Little, our DFL endorsed candidate in the 2nd Congressional District. Thank you for being here on this great Wednesday. We've got 174 days until the November 3rd midterm election. We are building the largest coalition to deliver the largest electoral defeat of a sitting president in the history of Minnesota midterms, and we're doing it together. Thank you so much, and let's go win this thing.